This event, Acend have been toiling away in the shadows. Not many people paying mind to them as they rightly should have been. Yeah. Where do you stand?
It's really interesting, and again, seeing the journey of Acend, this is almost kind of the second coming of Acend, right? We had that almost dip, you could call it, throughout the mid-year, and Gambit obviously rose towards the end of the year here. But in terms of the stylistic kind of matchup here, Acend have actually fixed some of the issues you'd have with a concern coming into this matchup, particularly against Gambit.
Well, deep breaths, everyone. We are 10 seconds away from starting up here. And again, we've talked about the art of greatness throughout this entire event, time and time again. And remember, great moments are born from great opportunity that these both now have. Gambit on the attacking side, Acend on the defending side. And we're right into this.
Oh, yeah, actually, the Trailblazer straight up elbow. If I'm trying to follow it up here. Michael just sitting tight in nest right now, but it's a heavy lean towards B site here on the side of Acend. Well, actually, they're going to be able to avoid this owl drone here, but I see that's going to take first contact deals with Defo immediately.
Yeah, a little bit of a return fire from Shados, but it's quick and it's Acend really sending a stark message to begin with. 2 quick kills and you lose out on Defo and Shados. 2 big instigators on this attacking side. So now looking at what's left, Nats, Redgar, Chronicle. A tough predicament to be presented with, and now a last-minute Aileen. Now the spike is on the way, you can see Nats slowly closing in towards Killers. Killers better be aware that he's not so safe, and you can see that paranoia starting to build.
Nats tagged up a little bit, actually going to get a confirmation here, but also going to hear out these steps in spawn. You have to relay that information, so Nats got a lot to deal with here. If they swing together, he's going to get detected here as well.
Yeah, he's going to be noted pretty quickly. Redgar's gone down. Nats is only good for 1. It's on Chronicle now in a 1v4, and it's gone quickly. Acend, hey, let's talk about this now. That's 4 standing, that's confidence building. This is a perfect beginning in map 1.
And again, we're coasting through that. The perfect setup again, anticipating Gambit showing a little presence towards B, and actually the pistol round in particular, but potentially towards the side of the top, which is always important. Again, on Breeze, you got to consider that rotation factor, and again, now it's going to give them the opportunity to, I guess on some of these buy rounds, explore mid, maybe get a little bit aggressive, stop Gambit in their tracks, but again, just looking clean. It's almost like they're completely anticipating that hit, and they were set up perfectly for it.
Now, when you see Breeze, though, and you see Acend, my mind goes, funny enough, to 100 Thieves. Right? Is it just me?
I'm glad we've got there so early, because that's, again, probably the biggest stumble throughout the year.
Was that a quarterfinal, I believe, in Berlin last time around, where everyone suddenly went, oh, wait.
Should have been a 9-3.
Should have.
It was an 8-4, and then 100 Thieves, so we all know how that one ended. Again, one of the craziest comebacks I think we've seen.
Absolutely. But this has to then echo a little bit of something for Acend. There has to be that little bit of worry in the mind, but with every single frag that comes in for them right now, it's looking clean. But there's a crunch coming in through towards that B side. Starzo's just fine, though. He can fall back, hopefully wait for some support. There are 3 players looking for angles, and he's finding every single answer to them so far. That's with a good shot, but it's a 1v3, and it's not looking so likely. Caught in the heels and put to bed by Acend. It's 2 on the board, and Acend keep 3 alive.
We'll carry some of that momentum across, some early progress towards the Viper's Pit. Starzo. See what they can get done here. And again, this is another opportunity where potentially Acend now can quick Gambit ahead of a site hit. And Viper will actually invested pretty early on here. Well, that's going to be an indicator. We can see the setup here. The 4-man lean towards A. And body's in position again, and look towards Zeke here in a pivotal position, holding onto the stairs here to make sure that Nats once again can't lean deep into halls. Again, actually, it's looking like they might walk it as 2 here.
Walk. Yep. Now Defo's battle will rage on as long as Bone Cold doesn't overextend. Let's see if there's impact elsewhere. It's going to be put into a tough scenario, having to deal with this push coming up tube. 2 players going to turn the screws on it. Nats doing Nats thing, says hello. Starzo, you going to try and play Viper against me? That's crazy. For now, though, Gambit are doing well. They're keeping the rifles in the right place, and they're not really falling foul to any of these little bits of trickery. Now, yes, maybe Acend with a rifle could find a bit of work here. Spike is down, though,
last player
and Bone Cold gets caught. So now Acend left in a bit of a spot of bother.
He's a little tagged up, so I don't know, he's going to look to do some damage. Shados has got himself tucked all the way into defender's spawn. All 3 members of Gambit, no danger as of yet. Again, just look at that. It's something that we see Nats become more and more comfortable doing, right? It's the walk up, it's the pick up. Yeah, actually missing on the first. Shados will clean it up. But again, Nats is again, it's so brazen, right? It's almost like that pressure comes through on Halls. It's noted by Bonecold. I'm pretty sure he's comfortable in calling 2 out there with Trailblazer as well. And that just walks up, literally walks up. And Green Stars are on default. There's not really an awful lot in terms of setup there that Acend changed, other than playing a little deeper, right? They give up sight and potentially, I guess, regress towards double doors, try and retake that space on Halls. But and here's Acend now on the operator. Early, actually, round 4 here.
Revealing area.
Off to a good start, though, for himself, so why not? But let's see what the adjustment, if there is one, coming out from Gambit, if they consider this a possibility. But already going to give away somewhat of the game, trying to play it through elbow, and Shados gets a freebie. Bonecold going to be livid with that. Shadows going to try and power forward. Yeah, oh, he almost caught Killers as well. Finest of margins here, but they actually peel away from this.
Feel a bit of pressure, and actually you can see here Chronicles found some space towards double doors. You're absolutely right, Lauren.
I wonder if audio cues have been heard, maybe even spotting stars, or maybe not. Maybe just the intuition kicking in, but he has to facilitate this somewhat, and timing is on his side.
Spotted.
They've just about spotted each other. Utility goes down, I think, towards either site or main, so they're aware the hit's going to be leaning this way. They can leave CNED lingering towards that B site, as now Chronicles starts to build through. Lovely work from him. Good spray, no connect, but it's Redguard to find it. So now the site should at least be available enough, and Chronicle doesn't overextend.
The tricky spot here. Hunter's Fury actually going to get sent through from Redguard. He actually found a tag inside back at Halls. He did. Keyless will fall. Just he can see Ned to try and recover this now.
Oh, I don't see Gambit getting overzealous. I don't think they're going to overpeak on this. I think they're going to sit real keen, play this smart, and not give away any opportunities. Just a little jump peek, that's enough. Just reassure positioning. What? Zeke? 2 kills out of nowhere, and suddenly this round becomes a little bit more viable, but time is the biggest problem. Oh my word, Zeke. Is this when you're going to step up and deliver? But it's going to be Chronicle. The bottom line, Zeke! The timing, I don't think he's going to have the time. Surely! Surely! Oh my god, Zeke has just destroyed them.
That was absolutely insane from Zeke, landing absolutely everything.
Gambit were halfway out the door.
They were.
Gambit were like, we're fine, we're absolutely fine, and then this happens.
Oh my god. I can't believe, again, like you said, Chronicles, look at this on the X-ray. Chronicles like, yeah, surely they've not got away back on site. Zeke actually got off the defuse there before the half. Again, at that point you think, well, yeah, if you don't get the half there, it's done for. What an insane round from Zeke. And again, Sean touched on this. He's looked so comfortable on this KO. There's almost like a late round component for Acend, which is something previously lacking, right? It was all about that initial aggression for Acend.
And look, how many times have we told the story of CNED and Starzo and a couple of the other players, and Zeke was this hot prospect who got picked up and we were waiting to see if he could activate, find that role, and he's found more than that already. And you've got to say, losing a 2v, 5 almost there? That's going to be a tilter for Gambit. Let's see if they can keep that known composure, but Zeke ain't stopping. He's right back at it. Just straight onto Chronicle. He's feeling this game. He's got that hot hand where everything makes sense, but a quick piece in towards the B site. Now, we already know there's one player here. Killers does find one, and Defo's none the wiser. He's gone away with murder from this corner. A free little upgrade as well, leaving Nats and Redgar with nothing to do but die, surely. Yeah, Nats is on one side of the map, but look what the spike is.
And unretrievable now. You can see already the body's in place. 4 people here to hold on to it. And again, just Zeke comes through, throws the fragment in, deals with the lockdown. That protects the Viper's pit set up towards A main, forces Gambit's hand in terms of this rotation. They get punished for it. Really nice crossfire from Bonecold and Keyless. CNED will find Redgar. Nats, the last one to come. 20 seconds, a 1v4.
Well, Zeke's shown that there's possibilities, but I think that Nats knows with that Spike's positioning, they're going to swarm that. Unretrievable. And Acend.
10 seconds left.
You couldn't ask for a better start. Let's roll it back, right? Let's talk bigger picture now, because I think Gambit we've looked at considerably, and no matter the scenario, there's always a chance with them, right? They are one of the true tested teams who consistently find that ability to run it back into the game, no matter the scoreline. Acend, I'm still unsure if they can do that grind back, but do they have to?
The problem being, I think, throughout this year, you've looked at Acend and thought, yeah, very fast and loose again. How much can they replicate that in terms of, you know, teams that don't match up? And Gambit, I think, is actually one of those examples you say they play so slow that it could cause a lot of problems for Acend, right? kind of they burn out very quickly in the early round. But one of the things Acend have really tightened up is their late round, their audible calling. And again, it comes back to Zeke in terms of this utility cycle, and he's such a huge factor in that regard.
Well, it'll be Zeke and Killers over towards the B site. No early note of player, but speaking of them towards the B side, I've got to look towards those double doors. Push out comes in from Acend, takes a little bit of an early battle, but don't overcommit, fall away. Now utility gets noted and the push looks like it's coming in. It's a bit of a shaky buy. Nat's the only one really with a rifle, and Killers still just keeps away. How is he not getting noted at this point? So many rounds, he's getting away from these dirty little angles. Ult comes in and Killers sends it right back. That's his site and you are not getting into it. Spike once again down behind enemy lines, over a minute on the board. Where do they find any avenue in here?
Again, that's the Spectre and the rifle removed from Gambit. Spike again on site. The one thing actually Gambit had going for them there is getting onto site, finding that Viper's pit, but Keyless aggressively pushes in. Use that before it becomes a problem. Zeke will find another. Shados the last man standing, Sheriff in hand. Again, at this point, don't even discuss the economy. It's not a massive dent, even if he finds one or two here. But again, that's when it's scariest, right? Acend, if they can dig their heels in, they look so comfortable when they're set up to greet any team. Once they hit that site, again, the way they play crossfires, they bait each other into these awkward little angles, and it just looks so comfortable for them.
I feel like we saw that in the semi-final to get here.
You know, it was so apparent versus Liquid, because Liquid wanted to play so, they wanted to play, and again, every single time, Acend looked dominant in the late round. Shados would actually find two.
And I do want to remind people, like, let's say you've only just really started paying attention to Valorant and you've seen this rise of Gambit. There was a king before them. There was another team in EMEA that was constantly towards the top that beat Heretics at the start, and it was Acend. And these guys somewhat fell into the shadows, I'd say, during that quarterfinal loss, couple of underperformances. But now we've seen this rekindling of that fire.
Well, the big thing was, and I think you look at previously, and it was underwhelming. From what we knew regionally of Acend, and we saw the peaks, right? We saw the ceiling for this team, and translating that is always difficult. Again, experience is something you have to consider. I know in that 100 Thieves matchup, the number of times.
How often can we say it?
Yeah, the number of times we're thinking high pressure scenario, Acend actually fumbled a massive lead there, and actually getting to match point, I think having 5 opportunities to close that out. And those are the things that do become very concerning. Now, this time around, it's a completely different monster. Like they
this
have
is night and day.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. It's best of 5 times, so it's a longer series. I don't want to ever just lean away from Gambit. That's stupid.
Well, this is the thing. Later in the series, you lean back towards favoring Gambit. Again,
Yes,
they're not the ones that choke. They pull off these mammoth comebacks. And again, you talk about a comeback versus Acend. If they don't start strong and set themselves up for success, that's when Acend looks shakiest. And it's not necessarily even a CNED factor, right? We've talked about other series where CNED's, I guess, on paper, not delivered. And you always think about, oh, CNED will drop 30, give him an op in round 3, it's all good. But that's when the concerns start building, because Gambit, they never give up.
No, they are relentless.
They come back in with thrifty rounds when they're like 7 rounds down, and that's the one that turns an entire map.
We can get into that if it comes apparent, because you talk about in-game leadership, you talk about the coaching element. There's a lot of factors beyond just the players on the screen right now. But at 5-1, Acend are sending a rather poignant statement. Already Seeker's going to come out, though, so Gambit are not wasting any time here. A quick mid-piece. Looks like they want to set the tone.
What?
And Cena just doesn't like the song they're singing. Already with a connection towards Shados. It's put it down to Nats, Redgar, and Defo. But look at the space. They've garnered a fair amount here. But already Zeke seems hyper-cognizant of it. He's already watching this push through.
And again, CNED's picked up a different angle altogether. Defo's looking to close the distance here onto CNED in particular. But see actually the spike making its way back over towards A. Still 2 players on the side of Acend to greet this A main push if it does come.
And they still haven't cleared or noted Bone Cold. He's going to sit there quietly.
They have to re-explore, exactly. There's so many like dirty little angles they can find. Nat's actually going to get found with the spike inside. Hauls that one.
Oh no, the opportunity might have just slipped through his fingers. He keeps control of it for now. Defo does well to get away with that. That was actually looking very one-sided, but now down to the 3v2. Redgar and Defo still trying to find that spike and build it back through. They're trying to isolate Starzo, who's on the stairs. That could be a catch-off, and it is. Good pick from Redgar there, but look who's been waiting the entire time. He kept calm under pressure. Bone Cold being ice cold, and there is CNED. Starts around, ends around, and we carry on. Acend keep powering forward.
Again, it's almost like it's just coming down to one or two aim fights here, and Gambit unfortunately can't get the response that would convert into into site control, into something like that. Again, we've seen so much variation on the right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just
must be nice.
Just run that one another 3 times if possible.
He's quite good at this game, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
well, if that's the Acend we get today, again, we come back to concerns, right?
We do.
There's a lot of pressure on a player that's come under a bit of flack, and it's Defo, right? It's the opposite number.
And I will be the first to say Defo on LAN looks completely different to how he does online sometimes. But he does now need to find it against a superstar. Acend is a superstar in this game, and Defo, I need to see a little bit of that jet magic coming from him. But the site, a very patient hold, a very deep hold. Starzo sitting back by Tribox. They've got a very deep post-plant positioning potentially, or maybe with that Hunter's Fury, they feel like they want to lean towards that a little more. But Defo's going exploring, and he finds nothing that he wanted. Starzo still holding a good amount of territory. There's that ult coming in as considered. Doesn't get everything, but Starzo does. Acend looks so polished. Nats, you've got a 1v5 and a Spectre. How lucky you're feeling. The diffuser's already come in. I don't think you can do anything about this one. Acend are looking like a different beast right now. Everything is going their way.
It is. And again, Nats has shown a presence a couple of times in halls there. He's looking to be kind of a late round piece, but setting up, playing distance, it almost looks awkward there. Defo, I think, oversteps the mark slightly, but he's desperate to find that open. He's desperate to try and weaken this hold that Acend have on A site. Starzo just swings through here.
Oh, and can we just highlight for a moment, they just made that look easy against Gambit. And no one makes anything look easy against Gambit.
They literally strolled back onto site there.
And they seem so hyper-aware that that was the way they wanted to play it. You already had Starzo back at Tribox, sitting super passive, patiently playing off the back of the ult. And we've seen this mid-piece before, but they're being a little bit more patient with it this time. Maybe a little bit of a different look, maybe an adjustment from Gambit. Rifles back out, Defo on the op. Money is there.
Trade-off of information here from the Owl drones. Again, going to try and avoid this spam as best he can. Lots being invested to try and clear him out here, actually. Be able to slip back through. Spike not committed this time, so expecting Gambit to just solely try and work a pick here. That sort of slow default we've come to expect.
Yeah, that poised nature coming out from Gambit, but does this...
This is where Acend have got great. They taking this space now. Again, now the rotation comes through from Chronicle. Yes. The alarm bot's removed. The turret's still there. Whether or not it's actually going to spot anything. Just wait and see. It gets dealt with here. So Gambit now...
They have to commit, surely.
They have to. They have
Doubling
to.
back on 30 seconds, you can't do anything about it. So now keep your eye towards the likes of Zeke, who sat towards the corner here. Still has flashes. Killers can't watch his cross anymore, so he's a little isolated. But Killers has got a feeling someone's close by. And he's not wrong, and he still gets a surprise on one. Great trade from Defo. Great clear from Defo. How's he found this little bit of momentum? Nats pushes forward, secures CT. Bone Cold from the backside does at least get one, but now it's down to 2. CNED and Bone Cold spike. Yet to go down. Where is this? Hold on, 5 seconds. CNED just has to live. Nats, can you find the final player? Bone Cold's out of there. That's the worst game of hide and seek Nats has ever played.
Again, in a round like that, Gambit have all the indicators of what's going to happen, and when I think actually the turret is dealt with by Defo, he has to deal with that so that the information's not given over, and still, they're too slow to react
Defo
here.
doing this?
Yeah.
Look at this. This shot, the site's yours. You've got to feel that's our first big chance. You know, where's the spike plant from this? How are they still able to deny so much space?
It comes back. Again, Acend have tightened up loads of these scenarios where in a late round, you know, they just get bombarded, overwhelmed on sites, but being proactive towards Cave and towards Shop, they're clearing that space. They have the information early enough.
Look at the pace change.
To send an extra.
Hold on, they're just going to be hammering the nails into the coffin. Bone Cold with a good start. Nats did at least quell Zeke, but it was an effective trade. Bone Cold's not stopping either. He's seen everything now. He's got so much information to play with. He doesn't have to be worried about this. Redgar can't do much about it. He can maybe stay alive a second longer, but then look at Starzo. Again, propping himself up, super close contact on that A-site piece if they fancy it, but putting a lot of faith right now in Killers. Considering that Cena's hit that rotation on the ladder, Bone Cold, that's 3. Finally handled by Redgar, but a 2v3, where'd you take this?
It will swing back up here. Might even...
Oh, no!
Oh, no, a little bit
He's
of a
had a
fat
nightmare.
finger there.
He's had a nightmare. Look, it's finals, all right? We're all nervous. We saw nothing. We'll move on. Yeah, it's fine. And hello, that's another pixel out of place. So again, these fact-finding missions that Acend wanted to go on are interesting, but as Killer's read this rotation, it's kind of ring-a-ring-rosy, right? So you're going to have a really weird position from Starzo, and it looks like they've almost flipped sides. Now the ult comes in, so at least should facilitate the point. Oh, he has no idea. Right underneath him, death from above. Gonna find Chronicle, deny the lockdown, invest the ult, and now looks towards the final player. Redgar, what do you have for us? You've been impeccable this event, but you've got to find something here. Give me a reason to believe, because at the moment I'm really not on board. Starzo the first to fall, and now the 1v1, it's Killers! He's just the back line to so many of these rounds.
He really is. And again, you talk about the start of the year. Killer's obviously doing the rounds in terms of agents now coming to his own in this role. And he's bailed to send out so many times in terms of lurking, in terms of being the last alive.
So what did Gambit need to do here? I'm posing you a horrible question, but theorycraft me something, please, because it's 9-1.
Again, at this point, I don't think really Acend are feeling any pressure. We talk back again to the variation. Some of these setups is drifting one player kind of being the anomaly. Gambit right now, in terms of information gathering, the early round's just not going their way. They're not finding kind of any space to exploit, anything that will give them any opportunity to convert towards site control, like I'd already said. Gambit playing that's, I got to say, a little too passively in terms of the expectations of what Acend are going to try and achieve.
I'm seeing CNED going walkabouts.
Yeah, early round. Again, they're getting so much info off this, Lauren.
Now, there is a bit of a response in that tube pressure that's coming in. But CNED is feeling confident. He has the line of sight. And he is just having the run of things here. Bone Cold as well gets a challenge, but gets overwhelmed. Gambit with the two players coming through. Zeke with the underhand flash. It's good, but it's not great. Gambit finally getting the frags they need. The pace looking much better. More deliberate in approaches now. It's just Starzo.
Screen down.
Say just Starzo. See what he can get done. Spike's being safely carried across towards the B side, taken away from his last known position. And he looks for a mistake. A foot out of place, an overpeak. Be your first challenge if you went CT would have been Nats. Not an easy target to try and displace. And there's the spike plant.
Spike planted.
You got a very, very deep setup here as well. Gambit, I make absolutely sure they drag this one across the line. Not stars I can find any damage here. Just considering just saving this out, but again, coming back to that with Chronicle, again, I know talking about comfort picks and whatnot, not feeling comfortable on the sky, but right here you see, as soon as CNED drifts into elbow there, they spot the turret, and it's almost like that rotation comes through straight away. You see Zeke and Keyless both making their way back through spawn. They read it perfectly. Gambit are almost kind of giving away exactly what they want to try and achieve in the early round, and send time and time again and just sending one body. Like I said, it's so hard to deal with, especially if these players that are in rotation are catching a member of Gambit here and there. This,
lovely.
I think, just comes down to a couple of gunfights that Gambit are granted. And almost, you don't want to say that sloppy on the side of Acend, but if they're not given though, I feel like Acend still have a good read on exactly where Gambit are positioned.
Let me go again. Cena, the aggression isn't going to be just once, it's going to be followed up on. He's taking space in middle and he's not alone. He's got two players behind him, three if you want to throw in Zeke to that equation. And look at Gambit, super deep in this approach, taking space towards A, but everyone else holding that mid presence. Nat's going to invest the ult. Now Starzo knows that he's going to be really on a platter here. Tricky for him to survive. Can he do anything with it? The answer, pretty resoundingly, is no. Gambit with a really nice approach. There's the adjustment from Gambit we were waiting for. It took a little time, but it ain't over yet. CNED and Killer still here. He's just seen everything. He just sends it in. He gets Redgar, but Defo deals with Killers, and it's going to be 9-3.
And again, much more decisive. You can see right there, there's a plan almost from Gambit, and the first few kind of points on the checklist, it's within the first 15 to 20 seconds there. And they don't resort back to that slow default. There's no kind of progressive movement through the map here. And a much better, again, with how that played out, I think that's probably the best possible scenario in terms of the last round of that half. Let's not look at the scoreline so much. That's probably the best thing for Gambit.
It's given them a window of opportunity, maybe a little bit of rekindling of the faith that every comeback is possible for them. But 9-3 is a pretty stark contrast. Guys on the desk, what are your thoughts on the scoreline so far?
Thank you very much. Guys, imagine coming into the grand finals with this much confidence, Sean. A 9-3 start for Acend.
Yeah, and the way they did it, they're treating Gambit like TL right now.
They are.
All of these rounds that shouldn't go